Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whiles he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives and his concubines might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God which was at Jerusalem, and the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine, and praised the gods of gold, and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaister of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And the king spake, and said to the wise men of Babylon, Whosoever shall read this writing, and shew me the interpretation thereof, shall be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. Then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were astonied. Daniel 5:1-9. Belshazzar's reckless feast is nothing but the soul drunk on appearances, scoffing at the vessels snatched from the temple of your own being, the golden faculties bestowed by God. He parades them before his lords, yet praises gods of wood and stone, the senses made idols. In that proud hour the silent hand appears, etching judgment upon the plaster of his palace. That hand is your own conscience writing your fate. Mene, Tekel, Upharsin, numbered, weighed, divided. Here is the law in action. Every ungoverned thought counts you out, finds you wanting, and splits you from your own power. See how Belshazzar's mind trembles, his loins loosen, knees knocked together, because he calls in every soothsayer, every astrologer, yet no one can read the writing. The intellect is deaf to the language of the heart. You cannot will your way out of this doom. Only by assuming the fulfillment of your desire, by holding the state of answered prayer quietly, gently, will the mystic script be erased. Prayer is not effort but surrender. You must cease drinking from the senses and lift your mind to the golden cup of your fulfilled wish. As you go, you are cleansed. Turn inward and feel the banquet already prepared for you. Assume the peace of that feast, the joy of having all your vessels restored to the temple of your soul. Persist in that feeling until the outer world must conform. Then the hand vanishes, the words dissolve, and you step into your kingdom third ruler, if you will, the divine partner in creation. So does the impossible become written fact. Only believe that you receive, and you shall receive. As you reflect on the scene of Belshazzar's feast, you recognize the danger of revelry and distraction. In his intoxicated delight with sacred vessels, you witness the mind lost in pleasure and the misuse of its most precious inner resources. Then, just as the ego's banquet reaches its height, a disembodied hand appears, writing upon the wall. That hand is nothing other than the still, small voice of your own subconscious, gently interrupting the runaway ego you have allowed to run free. The moment you glimpse those mysterious letters, your knees may knock and your heart may race, for unacknowledged thoughts have sounded an inner alarm and set in motion an outer collapse. Frightened, you might feel compelled to summon astrologers, soothsayers, or other external experts, hoping that the key to interpretation lies beyond your own capacity. Yet the true wisdom you seek has always lived within. By turning inward and listening to that quiet, guiding voice, you awaken to the realization that every answer was hidden in the depths of your own consciousness from the very beginning. When we examine consciousness as the true origin of all experience, we find in Belshazzar's misuse of the temple vessels a vivid reflection of our own imagination gone awry. Every fleeting thought presses itself against the hidden wall of our subconscious, quietly shaping the reality we will one day encounter. As this process unfolds, it becomes clear that the mysterious handwriting on the wall was never an outside force, but our own inner awareness translating the dominant themes of our mind into outward events. This is the timeless law of cause and effect in operation during moments of prayer or focused intention. An inner state always births a corresponding outer circumstance. Then, when the inscrutable words mene mene tekel upharsin appeared, they invited close attention to the true meaning behind each thought we entertain. By consciously shifting that inner dialogue, we change the course of what comes to pass, allowing a new outcome to emerge. You possess a divine power that begins the moment you take full ownership of every thought, for you are both king and scribe of your inner realm, shaping reality from the depths of your own imagination. As you deepen this awareness, you naturally learn to interpret the subtle messages arising within, trusting that no outer teacher can read the writing on your personal wall. Only your own intuition can translate the seeds you have sown. Then, by deliberately assuming the feeling you most wish to experience, you reshape your inner script before it ever unfolds as destiny. In this seamless flow of self-awareness, intuitive guidance, and intentional feeling, you step fully into the empowerment that has always been your birthright. When life seems to compose dissonant scenes around you, pause and listen, as if those notes were an invitation to shift your dominant feeling. Rather than resisting what you perceive as discord, welcome it as an opportunity to recalibrate. Then, imagine your mind as a golden cup and consciously choose to fill it with the vivid image of your wish already fulfilled, instead of unsettling fears or limiting beliefs. As evening falls, settle into the practice of occupying the end picture. See yourself at the banquet of your ideal life, tasting, touching, and fully feeling every exquisite detail, and allow that elevated state to dissolve any lesser idea that might linger. From this inner place of certainty, move outward as if the transformation is already complete. Just as cleansed lepers walk toward the priest with unwavering faith, carry yourself through the world now aligned with your new, indomitable conviction. In the unfolding drama of Daniel, the handwriting on the wall reveals your own mind's guidance, where you have strayed and where your greatest power resides. Draw upon that inner counsel, assume the state you wish to live, and watch as your world rewrites itself in perfect harmony with your resolved imagination.